right, now we will head up north to talk with Coach James Spady of Alabama A&M University.
Conference
Spady,
recording started.
Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good, good. Just talk to us a little bit about, last week's game as well as, give us a preview of your team's contest against Auburn.
Well, if I can get my voice together, it's still pretty hoarse from Saturday. It was that kind of thing.
I opened the door, but I couldn't see. I looked over at this one.
Can y'all hear me? Got some interference going on.
Yeah, we can hear you, Coach.
Okay. All right, very good. Well, anyway, we got ourselves in a dogfight. We got down 17-0, and I got to tell you that Jackson State was prepared and prepped to take it to us and try to win the game, and so they jumped out to a 17-0 lead, and we showed a little character. I think I hope I'm not being over dramatic when I say our football team grew exponentially on Saturday when we found ourselves down by 17 points, and they just took one play at a time and tied it up before the half, and then we went on basically a 27-3 outburst, and it led to us being able to win the football game. That shows character. It's a character win by our football team going against a team that was very well coached and very well prepared and was playing at the height of their ability. They really were a very formidable. It was a hard-fought football game, and Jackson State, to their credit, came in ready to play us and really kind of took it to us. But I'm so proud of our football team with a tremendous effort to finish the game on a 27-3 run and actually come out with the victory. At any rate, we did all we could do to have ourselves in the conversation for the Eastern Division. But we're not able to represent us now because of the way things went on. But we're motivated as a football team to go in and do our very best to represent the SWAC against an SEC team. Auburn, I'm watching them on film right now, and it's going to be a challenge. So we're going to do our very best to represent the SWAC and our football team. But very proud of my football team. We're glad to get that W.
All right, the floor is now open for questions for Coach Spady. Coach, if you would, could you tell me a little bit about the spark that Jordan Bentley has brought to you guys' offense? He's having one heck of a year for a freshman.
He really is, and we kind of expected that after we watched him during two-a-days training camp. He came out and, he's the first guy to everything. If we have a team meal, he's the first guy. We have a meeting, he's the first guy. He is just one of those guys who is very motivated to be an excellent football player, and he's been an example to the other kids on the team. He's leading by example, and I think, trying to find other players like Jordan Bentley will make us a better football team. But you know what? There's a bunch of guys who have really come into their own. I mean, Tootie Ballard is a spark for us. Tevin McKenzie comes to practice every day with the sleeves rolled up. Avery Giles is an example of something like that for us on defense, and we've got so many guys that are having contributions that will allow us to be successful in the future. You just can't put all that on Jordan's shoulders. I'm proud of a bunch of kids on our football team.
Thanks, Coach. We're still taking questions for Coach Spady at Alabama A&M University. Coach, in your estimation, what's been the biggest difference for your team over the course of the second half of the season? Despite a sluggish start, you guys have won 3 of your past 4.
I mean, that's a great point that we won 3 of our last 4, and that was something that we kind of went and talked about as a football team. We wanted to rededicate ourselves to some new sets of goals. We went on a losing streak there in the middle of the season, And it was a tough one. It was really hard for us to overcome. But we talked as a football team, and our guys are motivated, every day to try and be a little bit better than they were yesterday. And so what happened was, maybe they grew up a little bit. Maybe they wound up finding that factor that was necessary for them to push a little bit harder and strain a little bit harder. But whatever, I'm glad it came when it came. Wish it'd come a couple of weeks earlier. Because, to be honest with you, if we had, a couple of those other games that we lost and we were competitive in, if we could have pulled those out, we might be making plans to go to Houston right now. But we won't cry over spilled milk. We'll build on what we've been able to accomplish to this point. But very proud of our coaches, very proud of our football team to finish the last the last 4 games 3-1. I think that's a tremendous feat on the part of our football team, and I hope that's the growth necessary for us to jump to the next level. Sometimes you need a catalyst like that to put you in championship mode. So hopefully that's where we're at.
Thank you, Coach. We're still taking questions for Coach Spady, if anyone has them.
Hey, Coach Spady, Luke Williams from the Black College Sports page.
Good morning, Luke.
Hey, and congratulations on the big win over Jackson State. Explain, for your understanding about the East Division race, why Alcorn was able to clinch.
Well, it's my understanding that in a 3-way tie, which we could end up in a 3-way tie, I think that's based on if Jackson were to beat Alcorn, then you go to the next stage, which is head-to-head competition, and Alcorn beat us, and so Alcorn holds the advantage over us, whereas we beat Jackson State, so we would hold an advantage over Jackson if we were in a 3-way tie, and it is what it is.
But wouldn't Jackson have then in that scenario have the head-to-head over Alcorn?
I have no idea. I'm the football coach of Alabama A&M, and it was my job to beat Jackson State, and that's what we did. I don't know any of that. And, yeah, sure, Jackson but, again, I'm just using logic, Luke, in a 3-way tie, if all 3 teams beat each other up, you've got to find a way to distinguish one over the other.
I think the next thing would be the division record, the record in the division. I think that's maybe where I think Alcorn is undefeated in the division. If they're 3-0 in the division right now, I think, and if they beat Jackson, they'll be, even if they lose to Jackson, they'll be 3-1, but they'll have a better record in the division. And the moderator maybe can explain that.
All I know is, from a football coach's standpoint, if we had beaten Alcorn, if we had beaten the teams in our division, we would be having a different conversation right now. That's all I know.
Right. So based on that, how would you does the win over Jackson kind of give you the indication that you're definitely headed in the right direction in terms of, competing for the East title?
I certainly believe that. I believe that the way we won. We were 27-3. We're down 17-0, and our football team just kept playing. We told them on the sideline, and our coaches did a great job of getting them motivated from one play to the next. But they told them on the sideline, hey, look, we can't get this 17 points back on the next play, but we can get closer to it by playing the next play. And that's what they did, and I think that shows a tremendous amount of growth, and we certainly are headed in that direction. There's no doubt. Have we arrived? I don't know. I can't answer that. But we're a little bit further along to our destination than we were when we started.
And you get,
hey, Coach Spady, good morning to you. It's Ty Miller from Sheridan Broadcasting.
Ty, how are you?
I'm good, Coach. I just hopped on. I'm not sure if you've answered this question or not, but what are your thoughts on Auburn's speed offense, the way they run that speed option?
You can run speed offense, but if you aren't fast running your speed offense, it makes no difference. And Auburn is very fast. They've got something tantamount to elite athletes, thoroughbreds at every position. And I'm not as much concerned about how long it takes them to run the next play. Teams in our conference do the same thing. What I'm most concerned about is the speed in which they run those plays. I'm talking about from snap to whistle, not from whistle to whistle. And, teams in our conference play fast-paced offense as well. I think we're prepared for that. I don't know that we're prepared for the speed within the whistles, from snap to whistle, I should say.
And one more question, Coach. In terms of dealing with people like Carl Lawson and Montavious Adams on defense, what are your thoughts on them?
Oh, man, I'm watching those guys right now. And, we're going to try and take what we do best, and hopefully we can tailor it to their fronts and their coverages and watching their tendencies on defense, and try to do what we can do within what's best for us. In other words, if I'm not going to try to run a wishbone if I'm not a wishbone team, but if we can get the ball on the perimeter and then take advantage of the fact that they've spread their defense, that's what's going to be the best thing for us. But that's not an easy thing to do against a football team that's as elite as they are.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Coach, I think we've got them all. Best of luck this weekend against Auburn.
Thanks again.
Conference recording stopped.
And that was Coach James Spady of Alabama A&M University, whose team will play Auburn at 6:30 p.m. this Saturday. We turn our attention now to Montgomery, Alabama, where Brian Jenkins of Alabama State University is next up.
Conference
Jenkins, are you
recording started.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm making the best of it.
All right, Coach, if you would just recap last week's game against Grambling and tell us what you guys are looking to focus on in the bye week.
Hard-fought football game against a top-level football team in Grambling. Hat goes off to Broderick, Fobbs, and his staff. They had their team prepared, and they came out and played on a high level like they've always been playing all year. And I've said multiple times that I thought Broderick Fobbs is one of the best coaches in college football, and period. And people need to take notice of that. And his teams are exceptional. And so, we played an exceptional football team, and we had a chance to win it. We had multiple opportunities, and we didn't get it done. And if you look at the two teams, you can tell the difference. The opportunities they had, they found a way to capitalize on them, and that's why they came out victorious. And that's why they're in the position that they're in now, and heading into the big show. This bye week, try to get healed up, because we're real beat up as a football team. Along with being young and inexperienced, we're beat up pretty bad. And, so we're going to get a lot of rest and just try to find a way to patch together a football team to take into the Turkey Day class.
All right, the floor is now open for Coach Jenkins at Alabama State University. All right, Coach, going into the bye week against Miles, what is going to be the main focus for your team besides, getting a bit healthier?
Well, we're going to continue to work, try to capitalize on, work to learn how to capitalize on opportunities. We just didn't play well offensively. We were in the red zone several times and came away with 0 points, which we caused the mishaps. And it's been like that all season. It's just been one of those seasons for us where we can't get out of our own way. So, we got this bye week to, like I said, get healed up and then work on some things to hopefully be able to find a way this next time out to capitalize on opportunities when they present themselves. So those are some things that we're going to address. We're going to, definitely make a strong push on the academic end, maybe get a couple extra hours of study hall in and different things to make sure that we can continue to be a top-level school, academic-wise, and that's been good for us thus far. So, we're just going to continue to do the necessary things that that can help us move this program in a positive direction.
All right. We're still taking your questions for Coach Jenkins at Alabama State University.
Hey, Coach, this is Martin Darrington with the Montgomery Advertiser. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing all right. Coach, just piggybacking on what you said about the program moving in a positive direction. With everything that's gone on the last 2 years, and really the improvement in the academics, do you think that the positive things that you have done since you've been there have been overshadowed by the performance on the field?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people have looked past the positive things, which that's society. You know, society, when positive things happen, they just look at it for what it is. But when negative things happen, we like to pass it lip to lip, you know, and let it catch strength for whatever reason. But it's a lot of positive going on here. You know, we haven't had a kid arrested since our arrival here. Our APR has jumped out the roof since our arrival here, and I mean our team GPA is a 2.8 average. You know, our freshman class averages a 3.0 plus. So you know, we've done a lot of correction off the field, and I think because of our lackluster performance on the field, a lot of people haven't taken notice of the positives. You know, our team is heavily involved in the community with reading programs and Big Brother programs and different things, and we have a Thanksgiving drive coming up, which once again, you know, I'm going to feed anywhere from 25 to 50 families this Thanksgiving. You know, and our team donates half of the money, and whatever our team donates, I match that. And then we find a way to feed, like I say, 25 to 50 families. So it's a lot of positive going on. And I think, you know, everybody knows what football does. You know, when you're winning, that's all everybody wants to see. But, you know, I think all our programs have to take time to find a way to show the other things that's taking place off the field that are positive, too, that are affecting the communities and society on the good end.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
All right, thanks.
We're still taking your questions for Coach Jenkins at Alabama State University. All right, Coach, for the past few years, Alabama State has been home to perhaps the best defensive player in the conference in Courtney Berry. And it looks like you guys have a standout freshman in Darren Johnson who may be poised to take over his leadership mantle going forward. Can you talk to us a little bit about what his play has meant to you guys' defense this year?
Well, it's been good. You're right. You know, Courtney Berry is one of the best defensive players, you know, in the conference, and I think just throughout college football. You know, his high level of play has been consistent all of his years, you know. And no matter what level you're at or what school you're at, when you can play that consistently at a high level, it lets people know that you can play. And I think his tutelage with Darren is starting to show. And because Darren is starting to perform as well. And if you watch these two together, they're two peas in a pod. I mean, every day before practice, Courtney is walking Darren through different things and giving him, you know, some good coaching and teaching. Every day after practice, it's the same thing. And you got to look at Darren. You know, he's a kid that has humbled himself enough to tie in to a guy like Courtney and learn all the tricks of the trade and different little things that'll make himself a good player. So it's just passing of the torch, I think. You know, and I think, you know, Darren has showed, you know, great promise, which allows us to know that we're going to have a good ball player, hopefully for another 3 years, that's just like Courtney, and that can play at a high level and bring some of the accolades that Courtney was able to bring and the attention he was able to bring to our program. And hopefully, you know, through that effort, we'll be able to win a lot of ball games here in the near future.
All right. Any further questions for Coach Jenkins of Alabama State University? All right. Sounds like we got them all, Coach. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Conference recording stopped.
Again, that was Coach Brian Jenkins of Alabama State University, whose team will be on bye this week. Now we go to Mississippi.
Conference recording
where
started.
Alcorn State University coach Fred McNair is on the line to talk with us. Coach, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm not doing bad, man. Get over this old weather, man.
Understandable. All right, Coach, if you would, just recap your team's Eastern Division clinching victory over Mississippi Valley State and give us a bit of a preview going towards Jackson State.
I guess the biggest thing is, man, the coaching staff have done a tremendous job with what we had here to work with this whole season. Bar the injuries and our starters being out and they still out, what we got working with now. And my hat's off to the coaching staff. They've done a tremendous job. And the players, also just coming in and freshmen coming in playing and well they played this whole season. Barring the injury to these to our leaders, they've done a tremendous job. And going into the Valley game, we knew we had to go into a game that we had to be really focused on playing. Comegy did a great job with those guys, man, and they beaten Pine Bluff the week before us, and the guys going out and playing a full ball game this weekend. Did a tremendous job. Noah Johnson came in for Lenoir's Footman and played an excellent ball game, and actually he set a school record for touchdowns in that game. Did a tremendous job under him as a quarterback, and the defense stood out and played well up until the last few minutes of the game and get us a touchdown on the end right there. So, overall, the special team was great, and that's what it's going to take to win ball games. And like we have been playing the whole year, I think the team is finally coming together and understanding, gelling together and being a part of something special here, playing this ball game. But overall, I think they did a tremendous job of going up there at Valley and taking care of business what they had to do, and every game is a big game, and they got one coming up this weekend, Jackson State coming into town, so can't overlook those guys, and those guys, as Coach Hughes going to have those guys ready to play, they lost a heartbreaker there at the end up there in Jackson against A&M, but he have those guys ready to play, and they have them up, and we just got to prepare ourselves as we did last week and getting these guys ready to play another full ball game.
All right, the floor is now open for questions for Coach McNair of Alcorn State University. All right, Coach, what's the main message that you're going to be communicating to your team as they head into the contest with Jackson State in hopes of, making sure they don't lose focus, even though they have the Eastern Division in the bag?
Well, that's one of the games that, Jackson State, it's a big rivalry for us. These kids know it, and this one of the weeks that, Coach really won't have to coach this week, and they know what's at hands here, and it's a big rivalry for them. And the biggest thing is just, like you're saying, just staying focused at task at hand, and just and playing within themselves, not getting caught up in the hype and getting caught up in all the other stuff on the field action with the players of Jackson State. So they understand that, and I guess it was the same way this past weekend against Valley. They understood the contents of the game and understand the hype of it and what it meant to them. And I think the same approach this week. And this is one of those games you just stand back as a coach and make sure the players don't hurt yourself during practice, getting ready for this game. So motion gonna fly and all that kind of stuff during the practice, I know, and these guys will be ready for it. So the biggest thing is just keeping these guys focused on the game on Saturday. That's the biggest thing.
Coach Lute Williams from the Black College Sports page. How would you describe your first season as a head coach? It's kind of been a roller coaster ride, I guess maybe you would call it. How would you describe it?
I tell you what, it's been a trying season for me, man. I tell you, it's been like you said, a roller coaster ride, and when you come into the season and then you go through camp and you have rain the whole camp and you don't get a chance to practice the way you should during camp time, and you miss out on a lot of things that you need to teach the kids during camp, and you having to watch film during the whole camp almost, and not being able to go outside and practice like it is and with the weather wise, and then you look at all the injuries that we have, man, and I was like, it must be a curse or something, We had right now we got probably 11 starters out for the season. And that's the thing that people really don't understand when you got that many starters out, and then you have to deal with freshmen and everything like that. It's been a trying season for me, man. And like I said, this coaching staff has done a tremendous job of coaching these young guys up and getting them mature in the process, and done a great job. And my hats off to this coaching staff, man. It's I'm just a driver, man, and these guys have done a great job of building this program to where it's at, man. And we just crunching it out right now, man. And by faith, we've been able to put the pieces together and make it work, on the defensive side of the ball. And
how much celebrating did you guys do? How much celebrating did you guys do Saturday?
Well, we didn't do anything because we didn't know the outcome of the game until we got on the bus and headed back home. So the guys, these guys here, they know how to celebrate, know when to celebrate. So it wasn't a big celebration thing because they know we got a big game coming up this week. So it's the next game on deck. So the guys they're very perceptive of what we have received. The SWAC East champs and all that. So they know, and they've been here before. So that's the biggest thing that this team has really got to understand. If they've been here before, they know how the outcome of everything can be. So we're just going to take it one game at a time from here on out, and Jackson State is our next game. So this weekend we got to prepare ourselves to play a pretty good ball club.
Is the Bethune-Cookman game a game that you feel you think it's a positive for you guys in terms of preparing for the SWAC championship, or would you prefer to have that week off?
No, actually, I wish we could have, just finished playing that Bethune-Cookman ball game because it was going to prepare us for later, and like all the non-conference games that we played, the University of Arkansas, it made our guys stronger. It brought us closer together, as a team, and just make us understand where we at in the process of getting prepared for the SWAC, and teams, when you play them like that, it's a positive. And Bethune-Cookman game, it was great, for the little time we played them. I think guys got some experience then and understand the format of what's going on and in a program like that with Bethune-Cookman. So we look forward for those challenges as a team. I think our guys they're very good about accepting challenges like that. So it was a positive.
Coach, you wanted to Ty Miller from Sheridan Broadcasting.
Yes,
Coach, does the Jackson State game have any bearing in terms of recruiting for different players in the area down there? If so, can you talk about that?
Well, the biggest thing is now, you got Tony Hughes. He's a great recruiter, and Alcorn, we sit right in the middle of Jackson State and of course Southern Miss down on the other end with Coach Hobson. So, that's the biggest challenge that you can see right here for Alcorn and trying to get kids to come here and you got Jackson as a city team and you have Hattiesburg down there. So the biggest thing is that when you go out and recruit, you have to recruit the kids that want to be at Alcorn, and plus the kids that can play football, that want to be at Alcorn. So, it don't have any bearing, I don't think, of recruiting coming here. We just know that it's a big game, it's a big rival for us, and everybody live for this weekend. It don't matter. You can lose all the game on your schedule, but this game on this weekend is almost a must-win for all the people out there, the fans and all that outside world. But as a football program, we understand where we at now, and we understand what we have to do to take care of business, and we're gonna do that. And as far as the staff-wise, we're gonna recruit the way we have been. So we've been doing well, and I think if the kids want to be at Alcorn, they will say they want to come to Alcorn. So we're gonna take the kids that really want to be at Alcorn and try to recruit some of those guys that we can get outside of that.
Are there any more questions for Coach McNair of Alcorn State University? All right, Coach. Sounds like we've got them all. Best of luck this weekend.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Conference
that
recording.
was Coach McNair of Alcorn State University, whose team takes on Jackson State this Saturday at 2 p.m. Next, we go to Pine Bluff.
Conference recording
Talk shop
started.
with Coach Monte Coleman. Coach Coleman, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Very good.
Good. If you would, just give us a brief recap of your team's contest against Texas Southern and give us a bit of a peek ahead into the following week.
Well, it was very good football game. Texas Southern came out and played well. They put 20 points on us in the second quarter, and we were never able to really overcome those 20 points. Very hard football game. They ran the ball extremely well, had over 200 yards rushing with a long of 66-yard run, and they played well. They played extremely well. I did commend my team. We won one football game this year. Human nature says you shut it down, and you don't fight. You just kind of wait till next year. But I commended the team on their effort within the loss. But I did commend them on the effort because they haven't given up. We're taking it one game at a time, and they've played extremely hard and played hard this past weekend against Texas Southern. And we'll continue to do that throughout the season. It is bad right now because we do have a lot of guys, a lot of the starters that are injured. Our starting quarterback, he got a little boo-boo on Saturday. We pulled him out. So we played with our second-team quarterback for most of the second half. But the guys are playing hard, and they did play hard in this last game. And like I said, we'll continue to do that throughout this season. We got Coach Simmons coming in this weekend with Prairie. It's our last home game. It's senior night, and we're going to give it everything we got to send our seniors out with a win. So that's our focus right now.
All right, the floor is now open for questions for Coach Coleman at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Coach Coleman, this is Trevor A. Jones from SBN Sports. How you doing, Coach?
I'm good, Brother Jones. How are you?
I am well. Hey, Coach, give me some insight if you don't mind. Your team has played 4 of the top 10 teams in black college football this season. How impressed are you with them, and how much growth did you see with your players this year? I know you talked about they haven't given up. I know you're impressed with that, but anything other aside from that?
We're a very young football team right now across the board. And just to watch these young guys matriculate each week and grow each week, it's going to make us a better football team down the future. So I'm excited about that these guys are getting some much-needed playing time so that we can be a stronger team. We've got 11 seniors right now that's set to exhaust their eligibility on this game after Saturday. So being a young football team, it gives me great optimism that we can be a pretty good football team in the future. Of course, we've got to add some players in certain positions, and I think we're going to be all right. But, the main thing is just watching these guys week in and week out come to practice with the right attitude, doing the things that's necessary on and off the field to make sure that, we can compete on Saturday. And we are competing. As badly banged up as we are, as low as we are with the scholarship situation and other factors, these guys are fighting hard each week now. It may not look like it on the scoreboard, but trust me, in certain positions, these guys are doing what we're asking them to do, and that at least leaves me very optimistic.
So in essence, they're mentally tough even at this point in the season as far as you're concerned.
Yes, they are. They played a good football team against Texas Southern the other day, and from a defensive standpoint, they scored 20 points in the second quarter, and we were able to shut their offense out the second half. They faked a field goal on us for a touchdown, but other than that, the defense played well, played extremely well. We're not putting the points on the board like we would like to, but all that's going to come.
Coach Coleman, always appreciate you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Still taking your questions for Coach Coleman at Arkansas Pine Bluff. Coach, getting back to, your senior class, one of your bright spots has been Willie Young, who's had a bit of a resurgent season compared to last season. What has been the biggest difference that you've seen from him from last year to now?
We're doing a better job at the quarterback position. Last year we played 3 different quarterbacks throughout the season, so there was a lot of unsureness within the quarterback position, so we weren't able to throw the football or run the football the way we really wanted to, or actually get the football to Willie Young. Like, he's got to be one of the ones, because he's one of our top receivers. We've got to get the ball to him. What Brandon Duncan has done this year, being our main quarterback, he's been able to, throw the ball to Willie the way we wanted to. Also, to some of the other guys. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys to catch footballs this last week against Texas Southern. So with that, Willie Young being the prolific receiver that he is, we're able to get the football to him a little more consistently than we did last year.
Thank you, Coach.
And Willie is a heck of a receiver. I mean, he's got the speed. He attacks the football, and he poses a threat to almost every secondary that we play against.
We're still taking your questions for Coach Coleman at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Coach, good morning to you. It's Ty Miller from Sheridan Broadcasting.
Good morning, Ty.
Coach, you look at the fact that Prairie View puts up a lot of points per game, and your defense has struggled mainly with the running game. How do you begin to address that in a game like this, that you're going to be up against it with your defense? Do you try to control the ball to keep your defense off the field to help them out?
Yes, we definitely got to do that, Ty. That is part of our strategy, that we've got to maintain the time of possession with our offense. I've always said the best defense is a great offense. If we got the defense on the field and the offense is on the field, our offense is on the field, of course, that's our best defense. We're banged up pretty bad. I've lost 2 of my starting linebackers. I've lost both safeties. I've lost defensive linemen. I've lost my other starting defensive lineman who didn't play this last weekend with a concussion. He should be back this week. So we're banged up. The number one objective going into the game is to stop the run. The number one objective offensively is to run the football to win that time of possession. But we're gonna play hard. We're gonna play hard. We realize that Coach Simmons and Prairie View is very potent. They put up a lot of points each week, and the thing that we're gonna do is try to eliminate the big plays and make them earn everything that they get.
And what has been said amongst the players as they close, the ones who are graduating and the ones who are underclassmen, in terms of trying to send them out on a high note?
There's not a lot verbally being said. Just in practice, these guys are working hard. They're doing the things that I'm asking them to do in practice, and it is carrying over in the game. Unfortunately for us, because we are banged up as bad as we are, we're not able to win the football games. But this last game, like I said, the guys giving great effort, and at a time that psychologically you pretty much shut down ship. But these guys hadn't stopped playing, haven't stopped practicing, and we in our meeting yesterday before practice, I made an emphasis. Let's try to send our seniors out, all 11 of them out, with a win this weekend.
Coach, thank you, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Ty.
All right. Any other questions for Coach Coleman at Arkansas Pine Bluff? All right, Coach, I think we've got them all. Thank you again for joining us, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Conference recording stopped.
And that was Coach Monte Coleman of Arkansas Pine Bluff, whose team will take on Prairie View at 2:30 this Saturday. Now we head to Grambling to talk
Conference
with Coach
recording
Broderick Fobbs
started.
of the Grambling State Tigers. Coach Fobbs, are you on?
Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good.
Good. If you would, just give us a brief recap of your team's contest against Alabama State and a bit of a preview looking forward.
Well, it was a good day of football, a good opportunity for our seniors to play their last home game and to play in our second home, which is the Shreveport area. A lot of alumni, come out and support us in that particular area, so it was good to play that game in Independence Stadium on that particular day. Very, very competitive atmosphere. I knew that it would be that way. Coach Jenkins and Alabama State, they do a really good job of really getting their guys ready to go, and you can definitely tell that they were ready to play and ready to compete. So our kids responded well, and I thought we played extremely hard, and we played well in some spots, and I think they did a really good job of nullifying some of the things that we like to do. But I thought we did a good job of really playing really good defense and stopping them in certain situations, but then scoring enough points in order to win the football game. So it was good to play a game like that, a physical game. We played in several of those type of games this season, and it was good to get a victory.
All right, the floor is now open for Coach Fobbs at Grambling State University. Coach Fobbs, if the box scores are any indication, last Saturday's game against Alabama State was one of the few times that your guys had really been pushed or challenged. How impressed were you with their resiliency?
Well, I disagree with that. I mean, we've been pushed, all year long. You look at, some of our football contests. Everyone looks at the end result, but Prairie View was a challenge. Alcorn State was a challenge. Pine Bluff was a challenge. All these teams, they're a challenge. Just because the end score is what it is, that doesn't mean that you weren't challenged. So, I felt this was another challenge, and now there are challenges in different ways, but I thought this was a really good challenge. We learned a lot about our guys in this football game, and so to speak, all of them are challenges. You just have to play the way you're capable of playing. Sometimes late in games, things happen. Where something that was originally maybe a 14-point game ends up being a 28-point game. So, the end score, I don't think always has the indication of how competitive the game actually is.
All right, still taking your questions for Coach Fobbs at Grambling State. All right, Coach, with your team heading up to Houston to take on Texas Southern, what steps, if any, had you had to take in order to make sure they're not looking ahead to the Bayou Classic?
That's not our football team. We don't operate that way. From the beginning of all season, our focus is always on, what's right in front of us. And, during the month of January, we talked about winning every day of January. So the way we go about doing that is in our off-season workouts and things that we do, we focus on our enthusiasm and how our approach is for that particular day. And then we grade each day based on, did we win that day or did we lose that day? So for us, it's a day-by-day journey. It's not something that we overlook to look to the end. So that approach has allowed us to really remain focused on the task at hand. Because at the end of the day, that's all what matters is the hurdle that's in front of you. That's just the way we've done things, since I've been here.
Coach Ty Miller from Sheridan Broadcasting. Good morning to you, first of all. If I'm not mistaken, in the past, hasn't there been a bye week for you prior to the Bayou Classic?
Yes, it has. It has.
So what different challenge will this present, if any, playing a week before that as opposed to having a week to get ready for them?
Well, I think the challenge is having a week off, before another game, So, I mean, this is not a challenge. This is I mean, it's just like playing this week at Alabama State. We're going to play Texas Southern. So, I mean, the only thing that matters right now is playing Texas Southern, you know.
That's a very key game in that SWAC Western race. Can you start with the Varian Hurst, the quarterback at Texas Southern, and talk to me about him and your thoughts on him?
Well, I think he understands what they're doing. You can tell that of making sure that they have him prepared. They're a prepared football team. That's one thing I know about Coach Haywood. I've been knowing Coach Haywood a long time. I think he probably knows my father a lot more better than he knows me, you know. But he's a veteran in the game. He's won a lot of football games in his coaching career, and he's won on every level. So I have nothing but the utmost respect for Coach Haywood and his program and what he's putting together down there in Houston, Texas.
Thank you, Coach.
Still taking your questions for Coach Fobbs at Grambling State University. Coach, can you talk a little bit about potentially what sort of challenge that Texas Southern's defense could offer to you guys?
Well, I mean, just like any other challenge. They're good up front. They know what they're doing, and anytime you have a team of 11 guys that know their scheme and know where to line up and fly around and tackle well, you know, you have a chance. You know, so. You know, for us, you know, it's more about us focusing on us and what we need to do. Of course, we respect our opponent to the utmost, and we do that by knowing what our opponent likes to do and their strengths and their weaknesses as well. And you know, that's just the way we do it. You know, we try to figure out what they're doing and what they do well and what they don't do well, and then we focus on ourselves, you know, so that we can put a plan together in order to attack whatever it is that they're doing. So, I mean, it's no different. Every coach, you know, does the same thing. You know, we're no different than anyone else when it comes to preparing for a football game.
All right. Are there any other questions for Coach Fobbs at Grambling State? All right, Coach, I think that'll do it. Thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck this Saturday.
Thank you.
Conference recording stopped.
And that was Coach Broderick Fobbs of Grambling State University, whose team heads to Texas Southern to take them on at a 2 p.m. kick. Now we go back to Mississippi, hopefully to
Conference
talk with
recording
Jackson
started.
State University Coach Tony Hughes. Coach Hughes, are you here?
Yes.
And good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. If you would, just give us a brief recap of last week's game against Alabama A&M and a bit of a look ahead towards Alcorn State this Saturday.
Well, you know, it's been the story of our season. This is a hard-fought game that went down to the last minute, and that's just the type of team that we are. You know, we're a type of team. We don't score a lot of points. We kind of keep it close to the vest, and we scrap and fight and claw in all three phases, and hopefully at the end have a chance to win the game. And that's kind of the way we built this year. And again, it was a game that went down to the last minute. We drove the ball 62 yards. We just came up 2 yards short of putting the game into overtime. We took the lead 17-0. They came back and tied us at halftime, and we know regardless if you have a lead or you're behind, all year we've been both, and we have to play 60 minutes of football in order to come out on top. You know, very frustrating, you know, our first year, but we are competitive and we are competing at a high level, and to try to catch the better teams in this league, we just got to continue to work hard and improve, and give Coach Spady and Alabama A&M all the credit. Their quarterback played exceptionally well. He made the plays that he had to make in order for them to win the game, and They came up with a couple of stops on defense that helped them. So hats off to them, and we'll move on to our rival game, the Alcorn State University Braves, which is a big game in the state of Mississippi. It's we won't be playing in the Superdome like the Bayou Classic, but we'll be down on the reservation, and it's very important to a lot of people in this state, regardless of the records of both teams. It's a very important game in moving forward and trying to build a winning program here at Jackson State, and also establish some credibility that we are building and moving in the right direction. So big game for both teams this weekend, and we're excited about the opportunity to go play three-time Eastern Division defending champ and two-time defending SWAC champ, and we'll have our hands full. They're very athletic. They play well. They're hard-nosed. They're tough, and they play with a lot of confidence and swagger. So Coach McNair will have them ready to play, and our biggest challenge will be stopping their run game. Of course, they threw for 5 touchdowns, I think, the other day against Mississippi Valley, so they're pretty good at throwing too. So we'll have our hands full, but the Tigers will be excited about going to Lorman this weekend.
All right, the floor is now open for Coach Hughes of Jackson State University.
Coach Ty Miller from Sheridan Broadcasting, how are you?
I'm doing good, Todd.
Coach, what has been a common theme in terms of losing 4 of the last 5 of your games, if you can pinpoint something?
Well, it's always a combination of things. This week we played exceptionally well, and giving hats to Alabama A&M. And when it comes back, we lost the turnover battle, and we lost the game in the red zone. We were 3 for 4 in the red zone. They were 4 for 4. They scored 17 points in the red zone. We scored 13. They turn it over. We turn it over, and they make a pick 6. We turn it over, and we get tackled. They get in the red zone. They score. We down there the last play of the game. So against Alabama State was the same thing. We get in the red zone twice. We don't score. They get in the red zone twice, and they score. You go back all through our season, there's either turnovers or not being able to score in the red zone, or just not being able to make a play to make a difference in the game. And that's something that has happened to us, and our kids play hard. They play with great confidence, and we just got to keep improving. I think our team has improved each and every week. We played a great game Saturday. I mean, we played a great game against Alabama State. The games are unflawed. It's just critical moments in the game, and we cannot make the play to overcome the adversity and do something to win the game. So one play here, one play there, one fumble here, one fumble there, one interception here, one interception there, one missed field goal here, one missed field goal there. That's the story of our season. But we just have to keep digging and fighting.
Hey, Coach, does it give you the sense, being that it has been sort of close there here, nip and tuck, does it give you the sense that, even though it's your first year, that you're on the brink of maybe turning this thing around in the very near future?
Well, that's what we're hoping. And I tell you what, man, that's a great question, and thank you for that question, because it gives me confidence, because I'm very frustrated right now with the whole process, is that, nobody likes to lose, and I come from a winning background and not caring about the SEC or nothing, but last 7 years I'm used to winning, so I'm kind of spoiled and maybe conceited, and now, I'm like that spoiled child sitting in the corner and pissed off. But in saying that, our kids this past Saturday played with a great championship effort, and I thought it was the first time that we became a team that our kids really believed, and they hate losing, and they played with passion, and coming up short just ripped their hearts out. And now I think in turning a program around, losing is not acceptable. It's not an option. It is something that's not tolerated. And our kids, I seem to feel that they felt the same way I did. And with that, we got another tough one this week going down there. I mean, it's a tough trip. It's a tough environment. And we'll find out what we're made out of, character building only carries you so far in this business. But at the same time, you look at all the great programs across the country and even in the SWAC, through the years, Coach Fobbs building the program at Grambling and, this program that Southern has. All this wasn't abracadabra, crystal ball, magic formula, and, you win just because you are Tony Hughes or Fred McNair or Broderick Fobbs. I mean, you win because of hard work and discipline and work ethic and getting kids to believe in your process. And it's frustrating for us, but I think we're on the right track.
And finally, Coach, does the game take on any added luster because it's your last game? It's against your rival, and it's also against the possible SWAC conference champions.
Yeah, it does. I mean, all of that's important. I mean, it's and you don't have to say a lot to the people in the state of Mississippi and at Jackson State. The Jacksonians know, the former players, the alumni, and the players. And if the players don't know, they know now after yesterday's meeting that it's Alcorn week, and that's all you should be able to say. You shouldn't have to say, pump and prime and, give a bunch of explanations. And no matter what's on the line, it doesn't matter if both teams are 10-0 or 0-11. Okay, man, it's Alcorn week, and it should change the climate, and it should change the intensity level.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any further questions for Coach Hughes at Jackson State University? All right, Coach, looks like we've got them all. Thanks again for joining us today, and best of luck this Saturday.
All right, thank you, sir.
Conference recording stopped.
And that was Coach Tony Hughes of Jackson State University, whose team heads to Alcorn for a 2 p.m. kick. Next up, we stay in Mississippi to talk with Mississippi Valley coach Rick.
Conference recording started.
Coach Comegy, are you on?
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm all right, Coach. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good overall.
Good. If you would, just give us a brief recap of your team's contest against Alcorn and a bit of a preview going into next week.
Well, without question, we took a good old-fashioned butt kicking here, and they came in and played very, very well. They executed well. Once they caught on fire and got the momentum, we just couldn't keep them under contain. And so, I take my hat off to those guys. They Eastern Conference champs, and they played like it Saturday. They caught the football well. They threw the football well. Their defense was all over the place, and they were hard to stop. They were hard to beat, and and I give them all the credit in the world. Good football team came, and I've gotten better and better each week as they moved along the season, and they came in and caught on fire and beat our tails. That's just the bottom line. That we made mistakes, of course, but I'm not going to use that as the reason why they beat us. They executed well. They're a good football team. And that's about all I could say with that game. They whooped us pretty good. And we got to move on to the next one with Southern, which is another tough team out there in the West, and them and Grambling going forward. I imagine along with Prairie View if they're still involved. So we got our hands full. We just got to go to work and prepare, and prepare. Better than maybe what we prepared for this one. Just continue preparing these guys, getting them ready, give them the keys where they put them in the right place at the right time, and weaknesses to where we can attack and put some points on the board. And so that's what we're working on now. We've already moved to the next one. There's nothing more we can do about the last one, and move on to the next one and see if we can pull out an upset, down there in Baton Rouge, and that's what I'm on at this moment.
All right, the floor is now open for questions for Coach Comegy at Mississippi Valley State University. right, Coach, your team has Southern this Saturday, and as you know, they've got a lot of weapons offensively. What's been most impressive about them?
Well, they execute. They got a lot of weapons, but they execute well. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and they play a solid football game. And they're if they're down, they got that energy and that moxie to they want to come back and you get into the game and tie it up and go for the win. They have all that emotion, and strength of confidence, and within that football team, and that shows a sign of a good football team there. So, we got to go in there and match that same feeling and maintain our confidence level when things that go good or even when things go bad. We got to maintain confidence level at all time, and that's what we got to learn to do. And I think once we do that, we'll be a fine football team down in the Valley. But we just haven't learned to maintain that confidence throughout. Sometimes, throughout the ranks. When when you blow us out, I know it's tough when you're getting beat bad. It's hard to stay on top. But when you're in the fight, you got to stay in the fight. And that's what a lot of our young guys have learned. And I think there's nothing but bright future ahead of us. Because they're learning lessons. Each and every game.
Still taking your questions for Coach Comegy at Mississippi Valley State.
Hey, Rick, this is Luke Johnson with the Baton Rouge Advocate. How are you?
How you doing, Mr. Johnson?
I'm doing well. What's the message you give to your team this week ahead of this game? With you and Southern being a kind of opposite ends of the spectrum.
The only thing you can do, is an opportunities here. Here's an opportunity of a lifetime. People don't remember the easy wins. They remember the wins that you've gotten that weren't unexpected wins. And so it's an opportunity to do something big, and if you're a player, you want that opportunity. If you're a competitor, that's what you go after. With your heart and soul. You don't worry about the last one. You move to the next one, and this is where. Our message to them is we're competitors, we're fighters, no matter what happens, we're going to go in there and fight tooth and nail to try to get what we're looking for. And that's the attitude that I'm hoping that we have down from the bottom of our feet to the top of our heads, and that's how you win championships. And those guys have that moxie and that confidence, and we're young, and so mistakes, throw us off a little bit because we lose our confidence because of the mistakes that happen. But execution will clean that up and build confidence through execution, and that's what I'm trying to do here is build confidence through our execution and timing.
So do you kind of, with the way Southern's played this year, do you kind of show you guys that and be like, look, that's the example of kind of what we're looking for?
There's no doubt about it. You got to look at other people's play, and that's how the kids learn. That's how the kids get better. They learn from watching each other. Iron sharpens iron, and we definitely point out execution of when other teams are executing and how they're executing, how they're stepping, how they're doing this, how they're doing that. A picture's worth 1,000 words, and so sure we use the technique and execution of other teams to teach and preach and do, and as we move forward.
And the offensive players for Southern have gotten a lot of deserving credit for what they've done this year, but defensively, every week they'll have, it seems like, 3 or 4 turnovers, which kind of play a big role in that. So looking at film of Southern, I don't know how much you've looked at of them, but what's made them so capable in that department?
Well, I think confidence in flying to the football and playing as a unit. When you play as a unit and everybody understands everybody else's responsibility, I think it attributes to that. They play together well. They play good team football, and that's what I'm impressed with. Without team football, it's hard to win.
Thank you, Coach.
Still taking your questions for Coach Comegy here at Mississippi Valley State University.
Coach Comegy, Trevor A. Jones, SBN Sports. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, Trevor, how you doing today?
I'm well, sir. Hey, Coach, being a veteran coach that you are, how has this season been different from past seasons? And I mean seasons that you've faced, the challenge that you've faced this season.
Well, I tell you what, to be perfectly honest, I've learned an awful lot. I learned a lot about football, and I learned a lot about myself. And I have to be straight with you. What you can handle, how you can do it. Adversity, making the best out of adversity, and trying to continue teaching and staying on the path to what you were blessed with doing, and that's working with young people. And that's one thing I love very, very much. And it tested that, is that what you really want? That's what you want to continue, and it made me know that yes, this is what I want. I just gotta put my foot on the pedal now, and maybe dig in a little deeper. I'm prepared to dig in deeper, and so and our kids are with these young men. I think they deserve that, and so I guess maybe more that is for me to see if I can put my foot on the pedal just a little bit harder and do the things that they need me to do to help them be successful, and that's what I'm looking for. I want these kids to be successful, and I can't think about anything else but that. So I think I learned a lot about myself, that I'm not going to quit because of adversities in the face. I'm just going to, I know we can get there, and then this makes me drive harder. And I'm not happy that we lost, but I know that what we need to do to make this thing happen and to get us on level ground with some of the other programs, because all these coaches in the conference are highly competitive. They get after it. They're good. They're great coaches, and I just see the things that I believe that we can do here at the Valley to get in there and be right in the thick of things with those guys. And
you've had success 2 weeks ago, and I say that to ask you this question: what is it that you think that you need to get yourselves over the hump, so to speak?
Well, I think we need to keep working and not worry so much about the don't haves, and worry about what we do have and make the best out of them for the time being. And then when the other comes, let that be gravy on top of it, because things are going to change. But let's not be in a hurry and let that possess us to where we can't perform or we can't do the job that we're supposed to do as professional coaches. And I think that we need to stay on that track of teaching, and I think things will come from there.
And, Coach, my last question, you had a young team. We talked about this earlier this season, you and I. And how much growth have you seen in these individuals, and how proud have you been?
Tremendous. Even though we're making some mistakes, manhood, the growing up, you like your son when he was 15, then you see him at 18. They're growing. You can see the growth and how they speak, how they walk, how they're acting, how the interest in being successful is starting to pop out. And so that's what, you need that. There's an interest to winning. And I think we're moving in that direction. They're very much interested in making wins from not just alumni, but from player standpoint of view and what they're feeling inside.
I always have the utmost respect for you, Coach, and thank you for your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right. Any further questions for Coach Comegy at Mississippi Valley State? All right, Coach. Sounds like we've got them all. Thanks again for joining us today, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Conference recording stopped.
And that was Mississippi Valley State coach Rick Comegy, whose team hosts Southern at 4 p.m. this Saturday. Now we head to Texas to
Conference
talk with
recording
A&M
started.
Coach Willie Simmons. Coach Simmons, are you on?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
Morning. If you would, just give us a brief recap of your team's game against Southern and a bit of a look ahead towards this coming game.
Well, the game against Southern was an electric environment. Southern always travels well as anybody in the country. And, of course, they brought a ton of fans here to Panther Stadium and had another great crowd. And it was a 60-minute football game. I tip my hat to Southern and Coach Odums and the job that he's done. They're a first-class program, a ton of really, really good players. Lenard Tillery is as good as advertised. Willie Quinn is good as advertised. Austin Howard, Aaron Tiller, you name it. Those guys showed up and made plays and showed why they're some of the best players in all of FCS football. So I took my hat to them, the job they've done, and I wish them well in the rest of the season. But our guys, we didn't do enough to win the game. Too many penalties, too many turnovers, and too many busted assignments on the defensive side of the ball to give ourselves a chance to win. And against a team as good as Southern, you can't make those mistakes. And we made our fair share of them, and they capitalized on all of them. But it was a hard football game. Our kids never quit, so they've shown that throughout the season that they won't quit. We just got to clean up some things fundamentally as far as execution-wise to give ourselves a chance to win marquee games. And that's something as a program that we're continuing to build towards, and hopefully we can continue that moving forward. But we'll finish the season, regular season this week against Arkansas Pine Bluff, and we have to go to their place. Like I've said all year long, it's tough to win on the road in the SWAC, and so we know we have our hands full with the team that wants to go out on a winning note. Their record doesn't indicate the type of team that they are. It doesn't indicate the type of team they're coached by. Monte Coleman is as fine a coach as we have in this conference. Very first-class individual. A ton of respect for him and what he's done and meant for this league. So we'll be looking forward to going to Pine Bluff and hopefully putting a good game together and hopefully be able to finish our season on a strong note.
All right, the floor is now open for questions for Coach Simmons at Prairie View A&M. Coach Simmons,
Coach, you talked a lot in the past month about the playoff challenge, trying to get your team to the playoffs. Obviously, they took a hit as far as SWAC this past weekend. But talk about your thoughts on still being in the mix for possible at-large berth and what's at stake for your program this week.
Well, it's something that we're still playing for. We'll keep our fingers crossed and see what happens, of course. But, again, we have to do our part, which means being ready to play this weekend and giving the committee something to look at. We've lost 4 games this year to 4 really good football teams. Texas A&M, again, is a top 25 FBS program. Rice is an FBS program. And then Southern and Grambling are arguably 2 of the top teams in the FCS altogether. So, we've played well at times. And so, again, that's not up to us. That's up to a committee of members who look at our body of work and see if we're deserving of that bid. But we're going to continue to do everything we can to try to give them something to look twice at. And we think we're a capable football team. We still think we have the ability to play with anybody when we play well. And we just have to show that week in and week out. So it's still a goal of ours, and hopefully we'll get a little favor in that regard. But we understand the magnitude of this game and trying to close out on a great note.
Still taking questions for Coach Simmons at Prairie View A&M. Coach, in UAPB, you guys stand to take on one of the most productive QB wide receiver combinations in the league in Duncan and Willie Young. What have you seen from them on film, and how do you best attend and defend them?
Well, they've done a good job. I think early in the year on the national televised game against Pine Bluff, it kind of put them on the scene. Willie Young had over 200 yards receiving, and I think that's the week Duncan threw for close to 500 yards. So they're a prolific offense. They're very explosive. If you let those guys get in the rhythm, they can carve you up. So it'll be a tough challenge for our defense to one, get after the passer. You have to pressure him. You have to make him uncomfortable, and you got to get hands on Willie Young and know where he is. He's got phenomenal ball skills. He runs really crisp routes, and he'll be the next in a line of really, really good receivers we've seen in this league. You name it. Chad Williams, Daniel Williams, Willie Quinn. Now Willie Young. So again, we've seen our fair share of receivers in this conference, and the SWAC has been known for producing great skilled kids, and this year's no different. It's going to be a tough task to pick an all-conference team, first and second team this year, because there's so many good players and so many good kids to choose from. But I commend every coach in the league for doing a great job recruiting and getting these guys to play at a high level. But Willie Young is just as good as any of them. He's a very, very dynamic guy, and again, he's definitely a weapon for them. We have to be aware of where he is at all times.
We're still taking questions for Coach Simmons at Prairie View A&M.
Coach Simmons, if you will, discuss the challenge this weekend. Monte Coleman team is known to be tough and physical. What are the expectations of what you'll see from them, despite not having the season they would have liked to have?
Well, I expect to see a team that wants to finish on a good note. I think it's the last regular season game for both teams, and whenever that's the case, you never want to end your season with a loss. You want to have all the momentum going forward into the next season. So they have a ton to play for. May not be playoff implications, it may not be conference championship implications, but they're playing for a chance to set the foundation for the next season. And every team that's playing their last game, regular season game this weekend, is doing the same thing. And so that's definitely a goal of ours, to make sure that we end our regular season on a great note, to continue to build the foundation. It's a divisional game, so you always want to win your divisional games in this league, but again, a Monte Coleman coach team is going to be a team that plays extremely hard. It's always been that. That's the staple of any team that he's been a part of. So we expect to play a 60-minute ball game against a team that's going to come and try to, get on us early. Last year they jumped up on us 14-0, and luckily we were able to kind of settle down and come back and win the game by a large margin. But again, it's going to be a team that's going to play hard and try to execute and try to get the ball in space, get the ball to their playmakers. They have one of the better linebackers in the league, in Duncan. And so, again, they're a talented football team. And so we definitely can't overlook them. And hopefully our team doesn't have that mindset to overlook anybody, because that's not the way we prepare. And we prepare each game as if we're playing the best team in the conference, and because every team has a chance to be that. So it's going to be a tough challenge for us, and we got 4 days to get prepared for it, starting today.
All right. Any further questions for Coach Simmons at Prairie View A&M? All right, Coach. Sounds like we've got them all. Thanks again for joining us today, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you, guys.
Conference recording.
Coach Simmons. That was Coach Simmons of Prairie View A&M University, whose team will play at Arkansas Pine Bluff with a 2:30 p.m. kickoff. Now we head to Baton Rouge,
started,
where Coach Dawson Odums of Southern University is hopefully on the line. Coach Odums, are you on?
Yes, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, Coach. How about yourself?
Oh, doing great.
Good, good. Coach, if you would, just give us a brief recap of your team's victory over Prairie View A&M and talk a little bit about your team's upcoming game against Valley.
Well, first, congrats to Coach McNair. They found the way, and, it's tough in this league. And also, man, just going down to Prairie View was just, you don't talk about, first of all, they got an awesome facility. And, I take my hat off to their administration and for building such a nice place, man. Our conference is on the come up when schools are able to build those kind of facilities. It's definitely, good to be a part of the conference because, that's a beautiful place. We had a chance to go down there and play a good football team. I got a lot of respect for Coach Simmons. He's done a fantastic job. He's got them in position every year to contend, and, they're a good football team. It was a great environment. Our fans were fantastic. We took a lot of people with us, and, whenever we go on the road, our fans going to show up, and our good players showed up. And to me, that's the deciding factor in the football game. When you look at it, it was back and forth. We got off to a slow start, first 3 possessions. We were 3 and out. And our defense was able to keep us in the ball game, and, we made some plays, and we made some big plays. They'll make a big play. We'll answer with a big play. And, you can't say enough about Austin Howard, his management of the game. You can't say enough about Lenore Tillery. You can't say enough about Willie Quinn. But I really think the hidden ingredient on the offense is the offensive line. I mean, they're pretty good at what they do. Coach Berry does a great job getting those guys ready. And then defensively, Aaron Tiller had a monster day. And, I'm just when you look at the film and just look at the plays that he made during the time of that football game were big plays. Danny Johnson, another stellar game. So in special teams, I thought we covered kicks well. We tackled well. We protected well. And when you play well in all three phases, you give yourself a chance to win football games. They can score. Everybody know PV can score points. A lot of these teams in our conference can score points. So you have to have offensive firepower because you never know. But I was pleased with the way our guys played, and I thought we had the right focus, and I thought we went down there with the right mindset. And, again, we was able to come out of there with a victory, and, we were fortunate for that.
All right, the floor is now open for Coach Odums at Southern University.
Hey, Dawson, it's Luke at The Advocate. How are you?
Hey, Luke.
Hey, I think one of the things we kept talking about going into that TV game was their pass rush. And I think they only got to Austin one time. Now, that was a big play. They got the strip sack and picked up the fumble. But how would you kind of assess how you guys did slowing down that pass rush?
Well, we're pretty good at pass protecting. I thought offensively we did a great job of keeping our quarterback upright. And if you give him time, he can make some throws. And, he held on to it a little longer when he got the sack. But overall, I thought our pass protection was great.
And Austin himself had kind of a little bit of a bounce-back game. He missed some throws against both Alcorn and Texas Southern that he usually makes. His completion percentage is a little down. And last week, throwing the 4 touchdown passes, I think he got off to a really, really great start before going on a string of incompletions there at the end. You guys kind of need him to kind of keep having performances like that as the season kind of draws to a conclusion to reach your goals?
Just need him, manage the football game. I think if he just plays good in the pocket and, follow his progression, I think everything's going to be okay. With us on offense, it starts with him. When he's playing well and he's making throws, we're pretty excited. And we have some weapons, And I really think it's just him being comfortable. I think he's gaining that confidence that we had before we went in that 2-week stretch where we were off. I think he's delivering the football well. I think he has a good understanding of the game plan. He missed some throws, but I really think that for us making the right read, he's doing an outstanding job. I think his touchdowns and interceptions is pretty good, and I think if he continues to manage the game, we're going to be able to move the football and we're going to be able to score the football. I mean, he's just advertised, and there's no better guy back there that we'd rather have because he's done it for 3 years now.
On that interception that Danny had, I think it came. There was maybe 10 seconds left on the clock, and he obviously was aware of that and trying to take that thing back to the house, knowing that the offense wasn't going to have another chance to score after that. How smart is he as a football player with just kind of understanding the situation like that?
Well, he's an intelligent football player and a very good one. He can cover, and people keep throwing his way. And he caught that one. I think it was an overthrown pass that he was playing over the top. But he's always aware of what's going on. He asks the right questions. He's very attentive, and the hard work is paying off for him. But anytime it's a scenario, he always, they come to me during the game, and, they ask their questions. We bounce ideas off each other, because I've been around you guys a long time, and I relay that to Coach Oliver. I talk to Coach Oliver, who's our defensive coordinator, about some other things that they can do to put him in position to better make plays. So, I mean, these guys have played a lot of football So they have a great understanding of what's going on in the game, and that helps you when they come to the sideline because they're able to explain to you what's going on. So he's very familiar with scenarios and situations in the game, and I think that wisdom really helps us as a defense.
And the last thing I got for you, when I was asking Coach Comegy about y'all, you said it was evident that y'all are a confident team. Would you agree with that? Would you agree that you guys are pretty confident at this stage of the season and both what they're doing and kind of the understanding that if they do that right, it's going to end up well for them?
Well, I think they're confident in the process and the way we do things. And that creates some confidence on the field. I think they understand that we go over on Mondays and we talk about all week how we can win a football game, what we got to do to win a football game. And then we come back in on the following Monday and look at that. I think our guys get an idea to be like, we did this, we said we need to do this, we did that, and the outcome is we win football games. And I think that's what creates that confidence. Winning breeds it too. It's easy to be a confident team when you're winning. So the guys have once put together a streak here where they won some football games. But we always chase 1-0. So we're on to the next week. This week, we're on to Valley, who's going to propose a challenge. They're talented. And people look at records, and you know what? When you're playing football games, you got to throw records out the window. Just look at 2, 3, and 4 falling, this past week. So it don't really have to do with records. It's coming in and playing well against the opponent that you're facing. And that gives you an opportunity to win any football game. So our guys are going to need to be ready to play.
Thank you, Dawson.
Yeah.
Coach Odums, this is Chris Jones with GoJackSports.com. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Chris.
Coach, well, you mentioned earlier about the facilities at Prairie View and just the overall profile of the conference being raised to another level. What do you think needs to take place in order for the conference to get more recognition in terms of teams being ranked in the top 25 poll?
Well, I mean, it's really the top 25 is continued success. It's how you come in the following year. So if you finish in the top 25 and you get off to the right start, that's how the recognition really is generated. If you are outside of the top 25, it's kind of hard to get in it. You got to win a lot of football games to get in that top 25, and you got to beat some of those teams that are in the top 25. So, that's created over the course of time. And then I think scheduling. I'm quite sure that, you knock off some of these other conferences, whether they're FCS or FBS schools, and, that helps you also. So it's really about winning, but winning over a certain period of time also help you get in that top 25.
And on Saturday, you guys will honor 16 student athletes with Senior Day. Just talk about what this class has meant for the Southern University program, but more importantly, what they've meant to you as a coach, seeing as how their career started around the same time yours did at Southern University.
Well, they've embraced the opportunity. I tell people all the time, man, they've had their share of adversity. But when you stick it out and you have a plan and a philosophy in place and you get guys on the same page, you can find winning ways. But it takes everybody being on that page. It's hard to turn programs around when you don't really have the support or you don't really have players stand within that system. You're a new coach, you take over, and players want to transfer and do all these things, and just because things are not going good. But these guys stuck it out. And one of the things that we talked about was we go be the change about the things that we can control. And we've been able to change the things that we can control. And really that's all we focus on. I can't concern myself about the things I can't control. But for us them going out and playing hard, we can control that. For us them preparing the right way, we can control that. For us our guys understanding our process, we can control that. This senior class has been an instrumental part of controlling that part of the process. And now we got a chance to do something I don't think I've done since I've been here, and let's go undefeated at home for a season. So we got a chance to start our first year out on turf and win every home game. That's a huge accomplishment for a senior class to pass on to another class. And that's what we talk about, leaving your legacy. And you got to start somewhere. And this class has left their mark on this program, and they passing the torch on for somebody else to carry. But we've been through a lot, and that's why I think we embrace winning. We embrace the pride that it takes in this program because we've been through it together. And when they're freshmen, you can do that. If you get a whole bunch of transfers, it ain't no embrace there. But these guys that's been here since I've been here, we've been through a lot, and that's why I'm passionate and pride, and I love them because we did it the right way, and we continue to do it the right way.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, Coach, I think that'll do it. Thanks again for joining us this morning, and best of luck against Mississippi Valley.
Oh, thank you, guys. Go Jags.
Conference recording stopped.
And that was Coach Dawson Odums of Southern University, whose team will take on Mississippi Valley State with a 4 p.m. kickoff. Now we head to Houston,
Conference
Texas.
Recording started.
To talk with Texas Southern coach Michael Haywood. Coach Haywood, good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
All right, Coach, if you would just give us a brief recap of your team's victory over Arkansas Pine Bluff and tell us a little bit about your team's upcoming game against Grambling.
Well, Pine Bluff came in here well prepared and did a nice job on their offense and defense and played well on special teams also. We were fortunate enough to have some momentum early in the game, being able to move the ball down the field and score in the first, well, it's actually in the beginning of the second quarter. Then we were able to get a field goal. I think Pine Bluff came back after that, moving the ball down the field. They moved the ball pretty well most of the day up until the fourth quarter. And we were playing a bend but don't break defense. And we were fortunate enough to get a turnover, interception that prevented them from scoring early. And then they ended up scoring later on in the game. But I think that our guys played pretty well on defense. You know, offensively, we had 61 plays, ran the ball 54 times for, I think, 298 yards. Had four Southern in the passing game. Touchdown came off of a broken coverage, in which they were trying to check to a different coverage, and then came off of a broken route by Tracy, our wide receiver. He ran the wrong route. And so we were fortunate enough just to get out of there with a touchdown in that situation. But our offense was a little bit stagnant. We were moving the ball, but not scoring in the red zone, and that's why we called that we called a fake field goal in which Medina completed the pass to Ely for a touchdown. And you know, we saw it on tape as we went through all the tape for the entire season that they had played, and it was evident that it was there, but the only reason that we called it is because we needed to spark our offense and get another score on the board so that we could have at least a three-score game, because we had gotten stagnant on offense. So, and then we're just looking forward to the next game versus Grambling.
All right, the floor is now open for questions for Coach Haywood at Texas Southern.
Coach Haywood, this is Andrew, TSUSports.com. Coach, when you look at Grambling on film and when you assess their team, what are some of the things that you and your staff have been able to pinpoint that they do particularly well?
Well, I started off on defense this morning, and then watching their defensive tape. You know, their quarterback is hurt pretty bad. I mean, you can read whatever you want to read, but when you watch the injury that happened to him in the game, and then you watch him play in the first half of the game the other day, I mean, he's hurt pretty bad. He's a one-dimensional guy now. Originally, he was a dual threat and running pass, and now he's a one-dimensional guy and throwing the football. And so whenever they're running that zone read, they might as well just hand it off because he can't run the ball. And so now we have to we'll prepare for both quarterbacks coming into the game. Not really sure which one that they'll play, but we'll prepare for both quarterbacks as they come into the game. Last night, Rob and I stayed up here late last night watching their special teams. Kickoff cover team is outstanding. I mean, they do a great job of covering. Their punt team is solid. And everything else is just solid, but their kickoff cover team is outstanding. They do a tremendous job. And then their punt rush is pretty good because they're putting pressure on you. And then I've been watching offense the rest of the day. And as the offense, you watch it, they're trying to overload the box. So they're trying to play man coverage and cover 3. And basically they're saying that we're going to overload this box, so you're going to have to beat us throwing the football. So we're going to have to devise some schemes in which we can run the football. And then also we're going to have to develop a passing game in which we haven't had in the last 3 games. So we're going to have to do something in which we can throw the ball and protect the quarterback and at the same time be able to run the ball as well.
And, Coach, when you look at the last few weeks, the success of your ground game, really starting from Sam Houston State when Brad Woodard rushed for over 100 yards. You look at these last 3 games, Sam Houston State, Southern, and now most recently Pine Bluff. Just talk about that unit, that offensive line, and those running backs and the job they've been able to do the last 3 weeks.
I think that Brad Woodward and Tyler Cook are 2 backs that are doing a pretty good job, but at the same time, you got to compliment the fullback, Gary Holmes, Wagner, those guys that are in there blocking for him, along with Smalls at tight end, and the offensive line is starting to come together with consistency in the things in which we're doing. But, when they overload the box this week, we had 2 100-yard rushes last week. That's not going to happen this week because of the way they overload the box. And so we're going to have to scheme them just to be able to run the football. And, we're going to run the football because that's what we do best. But we're going to see all kinds of different runs this week that you haven't seen previously.